Question: would you rather be pushed or pulled? Because in this spiritual journey, you are either being one or the other, maybe a combination of the both. Now, when you think about the idea of being pushed, it's not pleasant. I know me personally, I do not want to be pushed, because pushing implies that I am trying to go a completely different direction, but somebody or something is forcing me or trying to force me to go a different direction. But if I'm being pulled, then maybe there's a sense of me being involved in this process and wanting to go that direction, and something pulling me and supporting me in going that direction. So when we think about spirituality, what I want you to understand and keep in mind is contrast of the universe. The contrast that is also you. That contrast is consciousness and ego. Now, these two things are part of who you are, right? They complete the whole picture of who you are. In spirituality, we often only want to identify and understand consciousness, and we even want to kill and destroy the ego. But we must understand that they are both part of the complete big picture of who you are in all of the universe. They are light and dark, up and down, right? The sun, the moon, masculine, feminine. They are what makes everything complete, right? So even though we may identify the dark aspects of ourselves as evil and bad, and yeah, we feel shamed when we associate ourselves with those things, but we must also acknowledge that without those things, then we cannot identify good. Without sadness, we cannot identify and experience happiness. So ultimately, this is meaning that the totality of these two contrasts generally create the completion of our existence, which is fulfillment, which is happiness, which is joy, when you recognize that we need both. So back to the discussion about being pushed or pulled. In life, throughout your spiritual journey, you are either being pushed or you're being pulled. Many of us are being pushed by the ego because we are driven and led by the ego. This is why, for many of us, life is an experience of suffering, negativity, bad things, challenges, obstacles, right? All the things that we really don't want to experience in life. Now, let's keep in mind that to a degree, those things are necessary. But for many of us who are identifying with the ego self, this false self, that is the absolute dominance of your experience. It is all about struggle, right? Life is struggle. The struggle is real, but it's not. When you recognize that you don't have to be pushed along this path. Now, the ego itself is also something that is a tool that is trying to support you along your journey. The problem is it is programmed and it is fear-based, right? It is led by fear. It is led by insecurities, right? All the things that really don't feel that great. Led by anger, right? But consciousness, on the other hand, is led by love, is led by acceptance, is led by motivation, encouragement, understanding that you are an abundant being, that you are divinity. Whereas the ego doesn't see you that way. The ego sees you as just some small, insignificant fragment or existence in the vastness of the universe without anything special about you. So what I want you to understand, though, is that if you're going through life and you're feeling like life is a struggle, that life is hard, that life is something that is out of your control, and you just simply have to roam the earth and just exist and complain about everything, and that basically is who you are, somebody who complains about things and do nothing about it because you feel like there is nothing to be done, then you are going to constantly feel the push of the ego. This push also is symbolic to your past, the things behind you, right? Because when you're being pushed, usually you're being pushed from behind. So you are being pushed because you are constantly identifying with the past. You are constantly saying that these things that happen to you is in fact who you are. That is pushing you along this path. Now, understand that the path represents self-realization. It represents spiritual enlightenment. We are all on this journey, and eventually we will all get there, whether it's this lifetime or the next. But we will all eventually get there and get to this understanding. Now, it's a matter of deciding how you're going to do so. Are you going to do so by mere force, by way of the ego, pushing you, by you just simply identifying with the past, the drama, the trauma, all of the things that you do not want to experience, but still are keeping within your mind, right? And thus magnifying that experience as a whole, that vibration continuously throughout your life? Or do you want to be pulled, right? Do you want to be assisted? Do you want this experience to be one that is of, harmony, of calmness, of peace? Then you wish to be pulled by consciousness, right? You wish to be motivated, encouraged, inspired, right? You want to be in a space where you understand that this universe is made for you to guide you and support you in understanding that you are essentially creating this universe by consciousness, and that the self-realization of recognizing that you are the creator of your universe. So the decision is whether or not you wish to continue to be pushed by the ego. Do you wish to be continually led by fear, by doubt, by questioning who you are? Or do you wish to be pulled by consciousness, by inspiration, by desire, by your nature to create the things that you are passionate about and curious about, right? Do you want to step forward on this path, right? Being in the present moment, because even though we are moving along a journey, we're not caught up in the future, right? Because I refer to the past, meaning that the ego can be used as something that is pushing you from the trauma and experiences of the past when you identify with that past. But that doesn't mean that if we are following and being led by consciousness, that we are only focused on the future, but rather really we're focused on the present moment. We are taking each step along this path, being present to the moment, to the now. And when you take each step mindfully, meaning you go through your life, your moments, your interactions with people, right? With a sense of intention, with a sense of purpose, with a sense of recognizing that this very moment is a gift and every moment thereafter is a gift. Then you recognize the power that you have to essentially create any moment and turn any moment into a pleasurable experience. But you must understand the nature of consciousness, and that nature is pulling you toward your self-realization, pulling you toward peace, joy, and abundance. So recognize that you don't have to be pushed, okay? You don't have to be forced along this journey. You have a choice. You have the ability to actually be assisted, to be guided, to move forward in a way where the universe is your friend, where the world is not against you, but for you. That life is not happening to you, but happening from you, for you. You see, that you're not having the lack mentality of the world is a scary place and the world is dark, but understanding that the world is in fact abundant, beautiful, amazing. And that you just simply have to view those moments in time where things are unpleasant, right, and not pleasurable. You have to view those as processes of change, right, of a transfer of information, knowledge from one that may seem to be unfortunate, may seem to be, unpleasurable, but still, as you continue to carry yourself by way of consciousness, understanding the vastness of the abundant universe, then you know that the other side of that is gain, is, gaining more knowledge, more insight, more information. That's going to carry you further along into the process of this unraveling of who you are. So what I want you to really understand is, as you go through life, you're going to unconsciously or consciously make this journey, take this journey. What I'm asking you to do is decide, how do you want to take this journey? Do you want to be pushed by the ego and take this journey unconsciously? Or do you want to consciously be guided and pulled, inspired by consciousness and experience the universe in its abundant nature and the truth that this is all a creation of your consciousness, and thus anything can be created based on your desires and what it is that you want when you accept the truth that you are the creator of this all. Thank you so much. Feel free to go to drabundant.com, subscribe to my daily newsletter, get access to this free ebook, and so much more. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.